Good morning. Good morning, good morning. I'm so late right now. It is Wednesday, the 16th of January, and I just got an idea for my government class, like on the fly. Whew, I'm so excited for it. I'll catch y'all in the classroom. Deuces. We're going to talk about discipline today, but how discipline is related to how our students trust us. It's a lot deeper than what it sounds. Stick around. Let's go. That's a discipline referral. It is my belief that moments when we have to use that discipline referral, those uncomfortable, awkward moments when we have to do our jobs and command our classroom, the conversation we have with that student out in the hallway can be the crossroads of a terrible future relationship or a life-breathing, dynamic relationship with that student. Here's what I think. Yeah, I hate this part. I hate having to discipline students. I mean, it is awkward as heck to me. But I will do what must be done, and I hope you do as well. Don't be afraid to use a discipline referral. They are there for a reason. I hope you have an administration that backs you up. Don't feel like you have to raise your voice in your class to scream at your students. Don't feel like you have to use gimmicky classroom management techniques. You should not be afraid to use it. That's why we have them if need be. They should not be underused. They should not be overused. In essence, the discipline referral removes the student from your classroom for whatever reason it is, whatever infraction it was. I'm hoping that our reason why we remove the student from our room is because they are disrupting the good things, the learning that's happening in the room. So don't be afraid to use it. Don't make it a public theatrical event.
This is my universe here. I am the Alpha and the Omega.
Simply ask them to leave the room. Ask them to, could you please step outside, take your stuff with you. If it's in a situation where you can go by and whisper it to them, do that. You want to make less of a scene as possible. You don't have to chew them out in front of their classmates. They'll probably never forget that. You don't make a public spectacle of it, okay? So students should know why they are out there. When you're talking to a student out in the hall, ask them simply, do you know why you're out here? Make them identify what they did just by simply answering that question. Do you know why you're out here? If they don't tell you why they're out there, we'll just simply tell them. You were disrupted during class. We've talked about this in the past. This is your last shot. You were, talking when somebody else was talking during our discussions. You were sleeping in class. Whatever it is, make sure that they know that why they are out there. Make sure that they know it's not personal, because you got to put yourself in their shoes, especially if it's a student that does not typically get in trouble in this way. Make sure that you don't have some vendetta against them. Make sure that this is not something that you've been waiting to do for a long time, even if it has. Don't make it personal to them. Ensure that this is business, this is procedure. You have a class to teach, and they were getting in the way of that. You would love for it to turn out differently, but you did what you had to do, and this is not some way of going after them, because they will suspect it, and you need to clear that up as soon as you possibly can. Tell them that you're not mad at them. That helps them become more receptive for anything you tell them after, and they realize it's not personal, and they're not mad at me. Okay, so I'm now that we've gotten that out of the way, I'm more open to what you have for me. That's very important. You got to realize that you and them are at a crossroads right now. You probably both realize that your relationship will never be the same again. It's super awkward. Sometimes they even feel betrayed. It's traumatic for some students, and the honeymoon's over, and they are either preparing to get chewed out or what. They don't know what's going to happen. Point being, the relationship is very pliable in this moment. Now, you can mold it to be one that's constructive or one that's destructive. Depends on how you want to play this moment right here. Given the pliability of the relationship at this moment, then turn it into something positive. Speak truth to them. Let them know that, you're not going to play this game. This is not how you roll. And if it happens again, and if it happened with any other student in the classroom, would be the result every single time. But don't troll them. Don't make them feel beat down and demoralized. If you have to, I guess what you'd call get in their face, really put the old school treatment on them and just say you need to get it together, find a way to fix whatever it is you've got going on right now because you're messing up our class. Some students respond well to that. Most students that I've come across respond more better to let's kind of turn this into a teachable moment. Turn the awkwardness into a teachable moment. At this point, you have their attention, so use this as an opportunity to build them up. As y'all know, I am a Christian, and thank God that I serve a God that does not hold my mistakes against me. And one thing that I've learned from him is that he always chooses to see us in the light of what we could be, not what we are in the moment. He chooses to love us in ways that don't even make sense to us in the moment, in ways that we don't deserve. But his grace, his love builds me up in these moments daily. And I want to encourage y'all to apply that model to your students in this moment. This is where the relationship begins. This is where the trust really starts to take root. You have their attention. Don't waste this moment. Instead of beating them down, and even if you have to get in their face, follow it up with love. Speak life into them. Let them know that this is not them, that you need them in that classroom, that their classmates look up to them. Now, chances are, in some cases, students have not had anybody say anything like that to them in a long time, if ever, and they may respond. They may be hostile toward that. They may withdraw. It may even confuse them. They're not used to people telling them, this is not who you are. You can be somebody else, but this is not you right now. But make sure you follow this moment up with love before you send them to the office with the discipline referral. Ask them this question: Do you have any questions? This creates conversation. This creates open-endedness and a chance for them to maybe explain to you how they're feeling and maybe give you their side of the story. If anything, it can make them feel better. And it can minimize the severity of the situation, really. Some students are not used to being called out in the hall like this. It may just be a simple getting used to how you do things in your classroom. It's amazing how fast students get over things, especially high school students. Teenagers have the memory span of a gnat sometimes. Or is that a goldfish? I think it's a goldfish.
Can I help you?
They go home, they think about it, all the emotion gets out of the system. And this is really important, that you don't just simply write them off and forget about them, especially if they were removed out of your classroom. Maybe they are an in-school suspension. That's what we have at my school. Maybe even if they were suspended. But as soon as you possibly can, and maybe they're back in your class the next day, ask them, are they okay? Acknowledge the awkwardness and the trauma of that experience, that neither one of you wanted to go through that, and that it affected you as much as it affected them. And go up to them and ask them, maybe before they enter your class, or maybe when you go up to in-school suspension or wherever they are, but ask them, are you okay? Do you need anything? You got any questions? And this is part of that speaking life into them process. The day after is crucial because this is where the relationship and the trust begins to germinate. You may not see the results now, but I've got a whole stack of student evaluations in that closet over there. And it seems like every year, I don't have many discipline problems at all in my class. We have really good students here at Dayville High School. But the few occasions that I do, I make sure to follow this model And it seems like every year when that student writes an evaluation on me, you're expected, oh crap, they're going to troll me. You know, they're going to just smear me all over this paper. But it's just genuine. It's usually a heart of gratefulness, of gratitude. And we usually ended up having a really good relationship for the rest of the year. And I think this step 6 is super critical for that. Do you need anything? Are you okay? I'll be in my room if you want to talk. Eventually, you got to get back to some normalcy. Step 7 is a continuous process. Don't stay here in this experience with the discipline referral. You followed up with them the next day. Looking into the future, you want to build them up. You want to continue to speak life into them. You want to challenge them in class. You want to expect the best out of them from this point on. So keep building them up, keep challenging them, and they will thank you for it. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching my vlog. I hope it gave you some vision. I hope it gave you some perspective to see that God really is using you in this field, in this teaching career, that you have gifts, you have anointings, and you wouldn't be here otherwise. But whether you've been teaching 30-something years or this is your first year teaching, don't stop trying to perfect your craft as a teacher. This is anything but a passive career. It is something that we should always experiment with, always challenge ourselves in new ways. Apply the research, reflect on the job that you're doing in class, and don't get distracted by the external factors out there, extracurricular activities, sports, paperwork, standardized testing. Focus on the students. Sell out to them. And you will find, I think, a new a joy and a revival in your career. As always, like and subscribe. If you have any comments, feel free to comment. I'd love to to create more discussion about this. And we'll catch y'all next time. Peace. And that's what we discussed today in class.